What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Casper Chronicles. It's your boy Casper, and today we have the long-awaited Invoked Despia Dogmatika Shadal question mark, I guess, deck profile. It's taken some time, that's for sure. This deck is not complete yet. We're waiting on that dragon fusion that comes out in Burst of Destiny. As of right now, it's Masquerade, the Crimson Gleam Dragon, and it's basically it has the same effect of what's his name, Red Eyes Flare Metal, where anybody has to it's your opponent that has to pay life points to activate cards or effects, right? So yeah, he does the same thing, and then he can come back if you control an extra deck monster, which is just incredible. So definitely be playing him over this, but we'll get into that when we get into the profile. Definitely stay tuned for more. And I mean, it's kind of stale at this point, you know. I mean, like, the next big thing I have planned for you is a ban list prediction video, and hopefully that'll drop here in the next week or two. And then after that, we'll hopefully get the Megatins released and be able to open them. I do have 2 cases coming. We will open one on the channel, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the other one. Yeah. Without further ado, let's get into the deck profile. We will most definitely get into the main deck first. So we're gonna do the deck profile a little bit different, so that way we can kind of speed up the whole process of the video, so it's not 30 minutes long, because I know I do like to talk a lot. Just like I said, it's like the Invoked engine. So, of course, we play the 3 Alistair, the 2 Invocation, the 3 Meltdown, and the 1 Terraforming. That, honestly, that does not change at all. I mean, an argument can be made for Terraforming, but, I mean, I feel like it's kind of necessary. You just gotta watch out for Droll and Lockbird, because, man, the Zat cards suck. And honestly, I'd like to, if anything, like, you'll catch some people slipping sometimes where you activate Terraform and then they ash you. Cool. Normal summon Alistair effect, search Invocation, and then at least get your free Macabre. Right? Or you can also use Terraforming to search your other field spell we'll get to in a little bit. But aside from that, like, the Invoked engine honestly has not changed at all. Next up, I did tell you we are running the Dogmatika package, and spoiler, that's part of the Dogmatika engine. Technically, I view it as, because this is access to, like, Winda and our Shadal stuff. So yeah. I know a lot of people are not playing Maximus, and, like, these 2 are cut, and it's just these 3 and these 2. I mean, with this, like, Winda is definitely the win condition. One of the win conditions. The main win condition of this deck. So, yeah. I mean, the Fleur and Ecclesia can OTK with a Macabre on the board, so that's not an issue at all. But, I mean, Winda does help you get there. And, of course, Nadir has to go to 2. At least make this deck more inconsistent. Now for the new stuff, right? So, we have 2 Aluber, 2 Tragedy, 1 Dramaturge. Okay, branded opening. And that other field spell is talking about Despia, Theater of the Branded. Alright, so check it out. So the field spell is what lets you fusion summon, and well, during your main phase, excuse me, and also if a fairy non-fusion monster gets sent to the graveyard, then this will trigger, like, say they like lightning storm your board. Cool effect. Bring back Makaba, and then if let's see, I think it's the Queritus. If he dies, he specials a Despia. Or I'm sorry, yeah, he specials a Despia, so you can special a Luber. A Luber will search Branded Opening, and then you have a follow-up for next turn. You can search whatever else you need and continue on from there. Tragedy is just a free discard. If it gets sent to the graveyard or banished by a card effect, you can search a Despia monster. So if you have this, cool, you can search a Luber and vice versa. All right. Branded Opening is not a cost to discard. This is also like a Balinx as well for fusion monsters. If your fusion monster is going to die by battle or card effect, cool, you can banish it instead and keep moving. It is only once per turn though. But a lot of times you're really gonna have one of these in the graveyard, and that's it. And I believe it's only one fusion mode. No, just kidding. Oh, by card effects only. I'm sorry. So if you get Lightning Storm, cool. Banish that. Continue. Right? If they have another way to like out your board or whatever, cool. Then GG's, I guess. I don't know. This deck does not have the greatest follow-up. But you'll see some cards later to kind of that I'm testing right now to kind of help with that. But yeah, that's the Despia engine. I was playing 3 Aluber there for a little while. But I mean, I'd rather the 3 Aluber is definitely mandatory in the Despia Shadal variant. But it's only 2 in this deck, in this variation, just because like there's really no room in here. It's already 41 cards, and I mean, all of these cards you kind of need, except for maybe 3. And I mean, if I took those 3 out, the third Aluber would not be close to the #1 thing on my mind. Maybe a second Dramaturge, but I hate opening this, or if I'm in a top deck situation, I hate drawing this, because this does nothing by itself. So, I mean, you'd honestly rather search it with like branded opening, or I'm sorry, search or special with branded opening, or search it with tragedy. But yeah, moving on. Hand traps. We only play 6. You'll see why in a little bit, but 3 Ash and 3 Imperm. The Ash I'm thinking about switching out for Droll and Lockbird. This deck does not do well against boards. I've also contemplated switching Ash out for Nibiru. But I mean, absolutely no question about it. If you decide to build this deck right and you're building a side deck, Nibiru absolutely needs to be in your side deck. Absolutely. An argument can be made for Phantasme as well, but if you play Phantasme, you can't play. Well, I mean, you can play Imperm, but they kind of counteract each other. So you would need to do Imperm first and then Phantasme, because if you Phantasme and you have Imperm in hand, it's kind of dead. Yeah, so I mean, Ash is okay this format. It's not really great. I mean, I would consider cutting it for Effect Veiler as well, but we have other cards in here to hopefully help us facilitate to where we don't need Effect Veiler and all the hand trap nation, you know, like we just kind of want to more control the board-esque, right? So to help us break the boards, I guess, we do play 3 Forbidden Droplets, our out to freaking Backrow or Mystic Mine, and of course our 1 Called by the Grave. to help our Alistair resolve, because usually people hit that with Ash, Valor, what have you. I mean, if you get hit by Imperm, there's really nothing you can do about that. The 2 Cyclone, you know, any like problematic floodgates, because floodgates are a thing. I have thought about Twister or Twin Twister, but the discard, I mean, it's good with Tragedy, but it's not really good with anything else, because you don't really want to discard anything else. So that's why I opted 2 Cyclone. I would definitely be siding the 3rd for sure. And I would also be siding like Evenly Match, Red Reboot, anything, any aspect of that, because this deck does not do well against back row. Absolutely. It's okay against combo, but the card here, which would help a lot against combo, going first, of course, because this is obviously a going first build. And then Droplets helps you just kind of break boards. Yeah, it kind of sucks for the discard, but I mean, sometimes you can get trigger effect from Droplets sending Tragedy, so that is a plus. It'll help you get into other plays and so on and so forth. Yeah, those are it for the other spells that didn't really fall into any of the 3 categories. And then for the final cards, 2 Strikes, and what I'm testing right now is 2 Summon Limit. So I did try to do, there can be only 1. It does work up until you get to the final board of Makaba, Quiritus, Maximus. I mean, cool, you can bring, well, you can't even bring down a Floor, because it's a spellcaster. You can't bring out Winda if you have TC Boo face up, because Winda and Maximus conflict with each other. It's just, it's not really that good, and I kind of like Summon Limit better than TC Boo. You can't really play Rivalry or Gozen, because everybody's different types, and everybody's different attributes. So, yeah, it's kind of hard. Yeah, that's the main deck. Like I said, it is 41 cards. If you do feel like you would change anything or any suggestions, like, I am totally open to them, because honestly, this deck was really, really hard to try to figure out the ratios and stuff. There was a lot of testing, a lot of heartache, because I kept losing, and yeah, it wasn't really that great. Moving on to the extra deck. It's spoiler, it's literally mostly all fusions, right? So of course, for the 2 links and the only links that we play, Secure Gardna and Almirage. So if you don't play the Maximus and you want to play like some with some Shaddolls for whatever reason instead of the Maximus, to get the Schism to Grave, like you want to play a Squamata or something, how you're going to get to Grave, I don't know. You can honestly cut these 2 for the Artemis and have a free spot in the extra deck for whatever you want. But I do like these a lot, just because Almirage is almost always fodder for Maximus, especially if you hard open Maximus. You can do the whole Alistair play, hope it doesn't get ashed, or not ashed, gammaed, or whatever. I haven't seen people play Gamma in a while, but if for whatever reason something happens to your Alistair, it kind of sucks. Almirage just becomes banish fodder for Maximus, and then you can go into Alcalone and do all the other shenanigans. Another thing too, this helps if you don't hard open Nadir Servant. Like I said, right? Well, I guess that would be technically the same thing as opening Maximus. Okay, moving on. It's late. Don't mind me. But yeah, those are the 2 links. The Gardna is, part of the package. Okay, for the fusions, well, for the Invoked fusions, all right, we do have 2 Makaba, 1 Kaliga, which is new, and then the 1 Ogoidis. Kaliga is very kind of tech option, I guess, kind of, instead of Purgatrio. I mean, yeah, I play Ash, yeah, I play Almirage, but I mean, aside from that, there's really no fires. It's all dark and light. Mainly dark though. So Kaliga Makaba is really, really strong. Right, like if you're able to make Kaliga and Makaba, right, because the field spell, the Despia field spell, does not require you to fusion summon only a Despia monsters. It can be any form of fusion summon, except for it has to be level 8 or higher. So I guess you can make Kaliga first and then make a Makaba somehow. I'm not sure. It is possible. I can't think of the combo off the top of my head. But Kaliga Makaba is most definitely possible. I guess if you hard open Invocation and search another Invocation off the Alistair, that's of course a way. Ogoides is just to help facilitate the OTK. If you don't have access to your Dogmatika engine, you can definitely boost him up high and smack your opponent. And if they special summon, or when he special summon, he triggers and pops a card on the field. It's pretty good. 2 Makaba is becoming more and more standard. Excuse me, just because they out the first one, cool. If you don't really have a follow-up to break their board, I would most of the time want to just at least put up some form of negate if I have Alistair and say I draw into like strike or summon limit or something. Cool. That's gonna help me a lot. It'll help me stop a monster effect, and if it's strike or summon limit, I can stun them with their summons, or I can stop another monster effect. Simple, easy, to the point. I like it. Alright, so Despias, right? 2 Quiritus, 1 Proskinion. This is the big daddy. He comes out, he's another, like, another card that is able to facilitate an OTK. And also he does definitely steal extra deck monsters from your opponent. I stole my buddy Zeus the other day. I'm unfortunately I didn't have materials. That would be absolutely insane if I did. Don't steal Zeus, steal Boral Sword, steal, I mean, Apple, this is kind of dumb, but you can steal, what's his face? The Link 4 Tri-Brigade guy, can't think of his name, so on and so forth, right? So this is the boss monster, and also he's always going to do 3,200 damage to your opponent, unless he attacks a defense position, right? So you attack over something, he burns your opponent for the attack of the monster that he killed, and then this guy is pretty good too. These two are a pretty solid tandem. You make everything 0, and then you swing into this, and you can do extra damage because this does to damage for the original attack, not the current attack. So you make this and this, like you make everything 0, cool, and then bring this out and smack into them for 32, and then burn them for another like 25, 3K, something like that. So it's like 62, and you need like 2,200 more or something like that. Crazy. Winda. Sounds familiar. Right? And one of these is definitely going to be for the dragon once it comes out. For the Shadal package, 1 App Cologne, 1 Construct, 2 Winda. So if the situation does arise to where I have a Light in the Grave, and a Shadal monster, or I have a way to get a Light in the Grave and have a Shadal monster, right? And if I go into 1 Winda, cool, and they out it, and then I can make a Construct, right? And then some decks have issues with Construct. It's very hard to out Construct because as soon as it battles, it auto dies. Like there's no No, I don't want to activate it. No, as soon as it battles, it whatever monster it battles, it dies. Right. So I do find myself, if I dump App Cologne and I have to dump Schism because I don't want to get rid of anything else in my hand. With Maximus, I'll send the other I'll send one of the Windows and Titaniclad instead, and pick up the Schism with the other window. So that way I have the versatility of Construct and Window and the extra deck still. And then, I mean, Titaniclad's kind of there already, but access to your Dogmatika engine and the one Entis, you got to play it because of Nadir. I mean, it'll help you in certain, like, navigations. It'll definitely help you out Mystic Mine, because Mystic Mine freaking sucks. Technically, it's a weird way out to Mystic Mine, but it's extremely situational. But honestly, at worst case scenario, it'll definitely burn into Gate for sure. But yeah, guys, that's the deck profile. I really hope you've enjoyed. Again, if there's anything you see that could be changed, any suggestions that you would have, please let me know down in the comments. I'm really intrigued to know and have input on this deck. I really do like it. It's just consistency is kind of an issue at the moment. Still working to try to figure that out. But yeah, guys, if you're not subscribed already, please do consider subscribing. And while you're there, please make sure you turn on that notification bell so that way you're notified whenever we upload awesome deck profiles like this. Yeah, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, because apparently there's a YouTube algorithm that kind of boosts us up if we get so many likes or something. So definitely give this video a thumbs up. And as always, until next time, it's your move.